Hey everyone, happy to have you here with me once again. Welcome back. And I am back. Maybe if you have seen my community tab, you may know that I was ill for almost a whole week. So I was feeling awful. I wasn't able to film, I wasn't able to edit, but I'm back. My voice can be a little bit weird because I'm still a little bit congestionada. I don't know what is the word that you use for that, but I'll leave it over here. So yeah, my voice can be a little bit weird. I might need to take a couple of pauses during this video, especially considering that today it's going to be a pretty shoddy video. But before we start, I have one more thing to say. Maybe you can hear my AC over here. Well, it's not really an AC, it's a ventilator. Do you use that word? But yeah, as you can see in the title, today we're going to be talking about my new attempt of doing a no/lo-fi. And I'm kind of disappointed of myself because if I will have filmed this video yesterday or the day before that, I will have been able to say that I haven't purchased any makeup in a whole month. But I purchased something yesterday, a really small thing. I'm disappointed with myself, but it is what it is. I'm trying to learn, and I feel like in general I'm trying to have a better relationship with my makeup and my purchases than I had before. But let's start with the beginning. Okay, so first I should say that I feel like all my life I'll be collecting stuff, like different categories of stuff, but I have always liked to have a lot of what I like. When I think about that, when I was like between 13, 15 or 16, I was collecting books. I ended up having over 100 books in my collection that I purchased in a span of 1 or 2 years. After that, when I was in Scotland, I started purchasing a lot of CDs because I love music and I love to have my favorite songs like in physical, like in a physical format on a CD. So over my 5 months living in Scotland, I purchased 30, maybe even more CDs of music. So a lot of that. Then I got into embroidering and I purchased again over 100 like threads, the thing with a lot of threads. How do you call that? I don't know which word do you use, but like a ball of threads. So yeah, I have through my whole life, I'm always looking for something to collect. Not for the fact of collecting, even if I have to say that I really enjoy that process of having a lot of what I like, but also because I want all the variety. I remember when I was embroidering, I wanted all the colors in the rainbow. Don't matter if I was going to use them, if I had a plan for them, like a project that I wanted to do with them, I didn't care. I just wanted all the colors in the rainbow, their pastel version, their neon version, all of them. And kind of the same happened to me when I started getting into makeup. And my first makeup purchase that I did before starting this cycle of going makeup crazy and wanting to have everything, it was a palette in Scotland. I purchased it only because I wanted the points. I have like the Boots card, and if you purchase anything in a couple of days, like if you purchase anything in a span of, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, you were going to get like 50 extra points or something like that. And I wanted to get that, so I decided to go look around and see what I could purchase. And I decided to purchase a palette from Makeup Obsession, and I got the Be in Love palette. And I was so amazed by that palette that I started looking in YouTube to see what could I do with that palette, and starting to look in how I can use that palette. I end up finding a huge community, a huge variety of different palettes, qualities, colors, not exactly like techniques of how to use the product, even if that was what I was looking for when I started looking in YouTube, but a variety of products that I was super excited about. And especially I found the W7 palettes. That is a brand that it was not available in my country at that time, but it was available in Scotland. And they do like the most famous palettes that I knew about at that point, so I got super excited. Also, it was pretty inexpensive, and I started collecting W7 palettes. I ended up having like, I don't know, maybe 7 W7 palettes. And then I came back to my city, to my country. And I feel like everything could have been under control. At that point, I think I had like 20 palettes, all of them low cost. And I was pretty happy about that. I was starting to get worried by the amount of makeup that I was getting, but at the same time, I was getting more and more into the beauty community that it was available on YouTube at that time. This was like the beginning of 2020, and I have to say that at that point I didn't know at all any project planning. I didn't even have like the idea that that could exist. So the more I get into the beauty community, the more I start feeling like I needed everything. I needed to have everything that the YouTube creators have, and I want to have a huge collection like them. And I will say that's when I start with my issue. At the same time, beginning of 2020, the pandemic, the COVID started, so I had way more free time and a lot of stress that I needed to relieve in some way. So I decided to go with shopping, and since then I haven't stopped. Since that moment, I have tried so many times to be able to do a no buy, stop purchasing makeup, but I wasn't able to do that. Every time I failed after a month, after a couple of weeks. Maybe I spent 2 months without purchasing makeup, but then I start over again, and all the time I was obsessed with something. If it was not like new palettes, have all the palettes in the universe, I wanted all the lip colors possible. But yeah, I will say my bigger issue when I was trying to do a no buy was that I wasn't really getting into the root of why I was purchasing that much makeup. And that is something that I didn't even thought about until I started watching Chana Perry. I mention her a lot here on my channel every time that I'm talking about consumerism or me trying to control myself in these terms. But yeah, I feel like Chana's videos helped me to open my eyes of why I really was purchasing that much stuff, and the reasons why so far I wasn't being successful at buying makeup. And I will say what is changing now and what it makes me feel like this no buy it's going to be more successful than the others that I have tried before is the fact that now I'm not really focusing all my energy in doing a no buy. I'm focusing my energy in using and loving my collection, and that has been a process, and because of that a lot has changed in this channel and in my life. For example, I stopped doing all kinds of project pans. Now I'm trying to do a panda palette, but that's it. I don't have plans for the near future to bring back any of the old projects that I was doing. I have to say that watching a Project Pans video is really entertaining for me, but doing it myself, I realized that I was putting a lot of pressure in my makeup use, but also I was getting bored of my makeup collection because I felt like I didn't have all the options that I actually have. Maybe I was focusing in 5 eyeshadow palettes and I was bored of those palettes, even if I have another 55 palettes in my collection that I wasn't using at that time. The fact that I stopped doing project pans, even if I kind of miss it, to be honest, it has been really beneficial for me to being able to look at my whole collection and being able to reach for anything that I want and not feeling the guilt that I should be using something else. So yeah, that is basically what I've been doing. I really hope not to spend as much money on makeup as I used to do. Through this year, through last year, I feel like in the last in the last year and a half, I have spent over, how much in US dollars it is? I will say I have spent over $2,000 American dollars, like US dollars, over the last 2 years. And that is freaking insane. And I don't want to do that anymore. Or I have enough makeup for 3 lifetimes. Why is so hard for me to say that? I was going to say 3 lifestyles, 3 lifespans. No, 3 lifetimes. And I'm trying to get the most use out of it. I have decluttered a lot of my collection in the last month because I was trying to really see what I wanted to use and which products, even if I like them, I wasn't going to use, and I prefer to give it to someone else that is going to use it before like wasting them, to say it. In case you're curious, after the big declutter that I did like a month ago, most of the palettes I have already gave away. I think I only have 2 or 3 palettes of the ones that I mentioned in those videos, in that video, and all of the rest of them are already in new homes with people that really appreciate them and they really happy to have them. So I'm happy about that. It's a little bit painful, I'm not going to lie. It was difficult to give away those palettes, especially because they were almost brand new, a lot of them. But I'm happy that they're in a new home, and now I feel more free to use what I already have, and I don't have like the anxiety that I have that much makeup that I wasn't really using and I didn't really want to use. So yeah, in general, good things. And in terms of how I've been doing, I have stopped watching every whole video. I have stopped following a couple of creators that I have to say that I really enjoy their content, but it wasn't really helpful for me because they like trigger me to want to buy more than what I needed, and right now I don't need anything at all. I've been struggling with a couple of releases. I'm trying not to really look what is new in the market, but I have seen a couple of things that have caught my eye, and it has been difficult for me to resist the urge, but so far I'm doing great, I will say. The only thing that I broke my no buy for was this blush over here, and even with this one I don't feel that bad because I wanted to purchase 4 and so far I have only purchased 1. But that is another thing that I have noticed. I'm really good purchasing a huge quantity of makeup at the same time, and having 3 or 4 or 5 new blushes in my collection doesn't allow me to enjoy all of them. I only end up using 1 or 2 and the rest of them end up in the bottom of my drawers without being used, collecting dust. And then they're not brand new and shiny and exciting because I have had them for a while, but even if I haven't used them, they don't feel new anymore. So yeah, I will try not to purchase big quantities of makeup at the same time, but in general I will try not to purchase any more makeup for the rest of the year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, to be honest. It's going to be so freaking hard, but I feel like I'm starting with the right foot. But yeah, this has been like just a chatty video where I was trying to explain why I'm in this point, what I'm looking forward to do, and I'm hoping that doing these videos, just sitting here, not really doing hauls in case I purchase something, just reflecting in how I've been feeling regarding to this no buy, I think it could be helpful, and maybe it's going to be interesting for you, maybe it's going to help you. I'll leave Chona Repairs channel down in the description box because she has helped me a lot, and maybe she will help you too in case you're in a similar position. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please consider subscribing, and all of that, I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.